Next car just got dropped off. This is a 2015 STI, I believe, and we're gonna be doing basically assembling everything. So she just got dropped off. No fuel rails, no fuel lines, no aero separator, no nothing, no turbo. A lot of work ahead of myself. Got an intake in here. Got nice radio. Got intercooler pipes. Looks like an aero separator in that box. A radiator. And we just got wiring harness, turbos, just like a stock STI turbo, radiator lines, wiring, everything. Fuel lines are there, bypass valve. Got a little bit of everything and not a whole lot of nothing. Boys and girls, we are finally, I think, going to start on this 2015 STI assembly. So this is how it looks right now. I'm going to go ahead and probably remove the topless intake, move that oil cooler out of the way, and then install the wiring harness on this, make sure that all sets correctly, and then probably fuel lines after it. This is what the trunk looks like right now. Got a lot of stuff to remove, but I'm going to start by getting this wiring harness out of here and see if we're missing anything and kind of go from there. So the harness is now in. This isn't dual AVCS, so the bottoms I'm going to have to zip tie to the side and make it all nice and clean on both for the not being dual AVCS. Coolant temp sensor down here does not match, as this is a 07 engine, this is this 15 harness. Knock sensor does match, which just makes me happy. We still got throttle body and that kind of stuff. Got the injectors and all that plugged in. I'm not sure if the coil packs are going to plug in or not. They look kind of different. Struggling a little bit trying to get these on. But the harness is at least on for now. I'm going to have to solder on the 07 coil packs, or the connectors, onto these to make the coil packs actually work. But my biggest concern is making sure this car will potentially start without the cam sensors on the bottom. So I may end up putting this intake on, running the fuel lines, and then figuring out how to wire in the actual coil packs. And if it actually starts and runs like this, then I can actually get excited and finish this up. Otherwise, we got to figure out something else. All right, let's move on to the fuel lines. We've got nice braided lines here. We're gonna go ahead and wire this all up. It looks like maybe a true parallel system, and maybe some sort of a flexo sensor as well. We're gonna see how this all sits in there. So back at this 2015 STI now. The fuel lines, one of them is super long that he gave me. So I'm currently cutting a chunk of it out. It's about 4 to 5 feet long. I'm gonna cut it down to about 2 feet. And then what's left, I'm gonna put on the actual fuel lines from the car to the lines that are now on the car, if that makes sense. So basically I pulled the line off that was up here, and it wrapped all the way down here. You can see it's incredibly long. It comes all the way out here. So as long as this thing fits on the line right there, and then onto the new fitting from the store I just bought, then we should be able to get these both mocked up and then check fuel pressure, make sure we're not leaking anywhere. I have to tighten all these up still, there and there, but as long as all these all hold pressure, then the fuel system's done. And then I can do the electrical stuff, make sure that the coolant temp sensor works, and the coil packs, I still gotta figure if I'm soldering the wires on or if I'm doing new coil packs. And I gotta do turbo at some point here soon. I'm just trying to understand why the oil line is so high up. I gotta maybe adjust that or fix it and then install the turbo. And honestly, it's not gonna be that much more. If you're unaware, once I get the turbo on and wiring all done and the intake manifold on, it's basically just aero separator and the front mount piping and radiator. So really not that much. I went down to a shop nearby me and got a couple of these connectors so I can make lines. So now I have a fuel going into the car and a fuel return. And then the lines don't look very good right now, but I'm just trying to make sure I don't have any leaks, and then I'll clean this all up. I just put the fuel pump fuse back in. I'm gonna put the battery cable on, turn the ignition on, and see if I have any leaks. All right, back on this 2015, I believe, STI, major update. So I didn't realize that he actually had a different ECU in here. So I plugged in the stock ECU, and now we have everything working as far as fuel and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and check, make sure I have no fuel leaks. If that's good, I'm gonna put some oil in this car, and I'm gonna see if it's possible to get this thing started tonight. I got the fuel line stuff fixed last night. I'll show you how it all looks now. I'm not done with wrapping all the stuff up and making it look good, but the inlet comes off the rail. or line straight into the front of the rails, and then it returns to this, and then this regulator returns into here. So it's all correct how it's supposed to be. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to start this once and just see what'll actually happen. See if we actually get spark and all that. Crank sensor wasn't plugged in, so there was no spark. So now we'll try it one more time. I'm just gonna see if I can get, obviously almost nothing's attached, but oil's in the car and the lines, everything else are tight. So we should at least attempt to see if we can get this thing to just start. Yeah, I just want to hear it start one time. That way I can be assured that we have spark and fuel and everything's working correctly there. This 2015 STI I'm back on. It's been a long time, but we switched up the setup. So now we have a Cobb 20G turbo. We have I got the radiator in and a Cobb upper and lower radiator hoses and a Cobb intake. And I'm gonna go ahead and start installing and you want to do motor mounts. So I have solid motor mounts. I'll probably end up doing potentially tonight. And then the next big thing is I gotta put this intake manifold on, but we swapped to a different one. So it's rear facing, and then I can do the front mount stuff. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and install the intake manifold. Got new TGB gaskets. Let's see how this thing will sit. Oh, she's on. Got that side tight, this side tight. This was very difficult to crush because this isn't technically 415 STI. But that side is always in tight, this side's on. Cap this off, install the aero separator and the front mount here soon. I still gotta do the mounts, but it's looking like an STI again. After a couple hours of hard work, got the motor mounts in, trans mount. Pitch stop I still need to install. Got the front mount stuff on. Everything's tight from the bottom on up, except for I need a throttle body, 2 throttle body bolts tomorrow. I had to figure out some sort of flange for the blow off valve, and then I gotta get a intake air temperature sensor back there. And then aero separator line needs to go on top of here. And then intake, and she's almost done. She's getting there. It's been a while on this 2015 STI, and I apologize for not recording a lot. I just wasn't as motivated as normal, but it's almost there. We've got the intake on, all the front mount pipes all on, aero separators all on. The blow off valve I figured out the correct one for this car. And for what the next step is going to be, I have one coolant line for the turbo, and then we'll put coolant in the car, make sure it holds coolant. I pulled the tune off earlier and it let me, so it's not locked or anything. And then I put a base map on for these injectors and for everything on it. So once I get that coolant line, I put some coolant in, I should be able to drive this, at least move it out of the driveway, and a finished product to put for this video. Just put coolant lines on and oil line on. We're gonna go ahead and move this outside. Got exhaust leaks fixed. See how this first drive goes. She sounds good. Long story short, I had 2 of the fuel lines were leaking, so I just removed the connectors that I had just bought, and we put just fuel lines on without the actual the metal connections. Had a lot of little things that I didn't want to record. Just too difficult watching a child trying to get this thing done, but I hope you liked the video. This should have one more video potentially with some tuning, maybe just cleaning, just kind of a shorter video, but again, thank you for watching.